You mentioned about chemicals. What are those? How can we navigate, and what are actually chemicals that are using in the clothes?
Well, there's a lot of chemicals that are used for everything. I mean, everything is chemicals. I mean, a fiber is a chemical as well, if we take it out. But it's dyeing, right? The
Okay.
fabric or the thread dyeing, that's a
Hmm.
chemical. Then if you want clothes to be like iron free, you know, you need
Yes.
to do that with chemicals. So you just treat the fabric in a way that it doesn't crease as much anymore. Then all
Mm.
the clothes that are made in Far East need to be transported to Europe or to the US, mostly by sea. So there's rodents, there's like animals, there's you need to protect the clothing from mold, whatever. So
Yes.
you need to put chemicals on it so they are resistant to all these
Wow.
things. Yeah, things like that. Or how you treat leather in order to be able to make shoes out of it. And there's very toxic ways with Chrome 6 to do that. There's good natural ways as well. As well as there's good natural garment dye ways. But well, the cheaper it is, the more toxic it is as well. Like that's a rule of thumb. And I mean, in Europe, and I'm sure in the US it's the same. There
Hmm.
is there's certain amounts of like for every chemical,
Yes.
like how do you call that?
The restriction.
The restrictions, and companies are not able to like
Right.
are not
To
allowed to
exceed that
exceed
amount.
that. But
Yeah.
then with like Shein and all these
Hmm.
companies that ship directly to the customers, there's no
They avoid
control.
that.
There's no control. Like they don't have to ship it into like a warehouse where they can be where
Navigating that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
where there's like institutions who can check the chemicals that are in there and if it like if it's good or not or if it's
Makes
too much
sense.
for the so when
Wow.
you order something from one of these suppliers, however they are
Yes.
called, I mean there's a lot,
Hmm.
then you can be sure that there's chemicals in there that are not even allowed in your country. You know, that's the
Wow. So,
downside of paying a cheap price. You pay the price somewhere else with your health, with our planet, with, yeah.
of
People
course,
just need to know that and need to be aware of it
of
and
course, that's
really put it into the calculation if it's worth it to spend so little on a piece of garment and the expenses are somewhere else.
of course, that's the education right there for the
Yeah,
person who don't know. What
yeah,
we usually talk about is, you know, when making a fabric, we use chemicals to grow that, or whatever is that. And when you're growing it sustainably, you stop that. You does not harm the planet or the soil
yeah,
you're growing it to. And when it's come to shipping, you try to use natural things, natural, processes to avoid all the chemicals. So that's
yes,
another way to support the sustainable and sustainable brands,
yeah,
to not get all that kind of chemicals at
yeah.
every step that it's coming to you.
Yeah, I mean, it starts in cotton, for example, it starts with what they put on the plants. They put
Exactly.
really toxic fertilizers on the plants, and that's
100%.
all in your clothes.
It doesn't
And then
matter if
also
it's
with
100% quality.
yeah,
Yeah.
viscose production, like rayon, I think you call it in the US. That is, you make a fabric or a yarn out of wood pulp.
Mm.
So this is a highly chemical process. And if you don't watch out for like a closed cycle of chemicals and how which chemicals you use, then this can be a very toxic thing in the end on your skin.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to think about. I mean, not to say, but there are a lot of ways to die these days.
Yeah. Yeah, but we do have certificates, we do have companies that make it all very transparent, that
Hmm.
even, you know, I mean, we have a denim, like, or not a denim, a jeans company, jeans brand in Germany, and they even opened their own manufacturing site in Vietnam.
Okay.
So they really can be sure that their standards, like very high standards, also in terms of fair working environment
Yes.
and you know,
Awesome.
just taking care of the people who work on the clothes,
Right.
so they can make sure that this is implied and that, yeah,
Yeah.
that it's done the way they want it to be done. So I
100%.
think there's very good examples.